Hello and welcome to the Mythic Yoga Studio in Boulder, Colorado. I'm Sydney Solis, and I'm glad you could join in. The story I'd like to tell you tonight is from the Jewish tradition. It's called The Wooden Sword. There was once a king, and this king, well, he grew tired of the castle and all of its fine things, and he decided that he wanted to look down the hill and see how all those miserable people were getting by. Oh, those poor things. They can't possibly be happy, because how could anybody be happier than the king? Anyway, so he took off all of his wonderful robes, royal robes, and put on some old things, and he went down the hill to the little village. And there he looked around in the streets and all the worn-out little houses and the people who were looking kind of miserably. He heard something. Why, there was singing. Somebody was singing. Somebody was happy. And sure enough, he found it, traced it to this little hut. And there was a man at his table. And the man sang, "I am so happy, happy, happy. I have my bread and soup and family." The king was like, "Oh, this is amazing. How can he be so happy?" But he is, despite the miserable conditions. Well, let's see how happy he is if he can't make a living. Well, our friend, the little singer, he was a shoe repairman. And so the king decided that he would make it illegal for anyone to repair shoes. And so it was that way in the morning, and the man was like, "Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I can't make shoes. I can't get my daily wage. If I can't get my daily wage, why, I can't make a living and feed my family. Oh, what am I to do?" He gathered himself up, and he just listened for a while. He said, "I have faith in God." And then he thought, "I've got it. Well, if I can't mend shoes, well, I can go and carry water and sell water. That's what I'll do." So the very next day, he made his living by gathering water and selling it to the people. He had his wage. He went home, and he was so happy, singing, "I'm so happy, happy, happy. I have my bread and soup and family." Now the king was watching again. He couldn't believe this. Ugh, how could he still be happy? I put such torture on him. Well, let's see if he can still stand it. So the next day, the king declared that it was illegal for you to carry and sell water. So once again, the poor man found himself without any way to get his bread and soup for the day, and he couldn't feed his family. He was just terrified. He didn't know what to do. So, well, if I can't carry and sell water, well, I'll go with the others and chop wood in the forest and sell that. So off he went. He chopped up wood, sold it, got some money, went down to the market to buy his bread and soup, and went home to be with his family. Of course, he sang, "I am so happy, happy, happy. I have my bread and soup and family." So, of course, the king was looking in. Oh, he couldn't believe it. Still, all the pain I caused him, and he's still happy. He can still sing despite all the agony going on around him. So the king thought, well, this time I'm going to just impress him into the army, and he's not going to get paid till the end of the month. We'll just see what he's going to do with that. So, sure enough, the poor man the next day found that it was illegal to chop wood, and the only thing he could do was be in the army. And of course, he was terrified still that how could he have any money to buy any bread or soup for his family at the end of the day? Now what was he going to do? So he just paused for a little while, and he listened, and he thought, "I have faith in God. I will find something to do." And sure enough, he thought, "Oh, I've got an idea." He took the fine blade from his sword, and he fashioned and carved one out of wood. And he stuck it on there, and he went and he quickly sold the blade so that he could live for the whole month. And he knew that, well, then he would get paid, he could buy the sword back again, he would be okay. So that's what he did. And of course, the king was watching. So the very next day, the king gathered a crowd in his castle, and he says, "Ah, look! This man was caught as a thief stealing from the king's garden." Now, he pointed to the man, I want you to cut off his head. Well, the man was just terrified. Oh my gosh, I've got my wooden sword. What am I going to do? I can't chop this man's head off, sir. I've never even harmed a fly. And the guards all came up to him and said, You'd better cut his head off or it's going to be your neck. I'm going to cut your head off. So the man was like, oh, what am I to do? I need just a minute. And so he went off alone and he gathered himself up. And he says, I have faith in God. And then he had an idea. He went back to the people and he says, I have never hurt a fly, and as God is my witness, if this man is guilty, may I take my sword and chop off his head. But should this man be innocent, then may my sword be turned to wood. And with that, he took out his sword and held it up, and the entire crowd was amazed at what they saw. They couldn't believe this miracle had happened. And of course, the poor man who the king had dragged in, accusing him of, stealing from his garden, got off the hook. And the king, though, he knew what had happened. And he realized, well, this indeed is a resourceful and amazing man. I'd like him on my advisor team. And so it is. The poor man could come and live with the king and be his advisor. And for all of his days, he was able to always sing and be happy, happy, happy. I have my bread and soup and family. So how are you, like the poor man in the wooden sword? Have you lost your job? Do you not know where the next thing is going to come from? Well, have faith, because according to a lot of people in yoga, this doesn't really exist. So don't worry about anything. Stay connected to your source. Everything works out. You just have to stay present. Don't let the mind get to you. And also, I've been broke several times in my life. Dead broke. And you know what happens? People help you out. The community comes and helps you out. And you know what? You don't need a lot of stuff. Things are changing around here in America. We're just, we don't need that stuff to make you happy. Happiness is that joy of being in nature with your family, doing something you love to do, helping others. There's doing yoga and meditating, telling stories. Those things are pretty simple. And all the complexities of our modern technological, mechanical world devoid of soul, well, that's fading away. And we're reemerging, reconnecting back to that mystical, interior, intuitive, and instinctual sensing side of our psyches. So, meditate. Practice yoga, ground yourself in standing poses. You can get through anything. You can become resourceful like the old man, the man in the wooden sword. You can figure out something else to do. Have faith in God. Have faith in yourself. Reminds me of that wonderful Peter Gabriel and Kate Bush song. Don't give up, 'cause you still have us. So, enjoy the wooden sword, practice yoga to it, listen to your dreams if anything else comes up with that, and tune in next time when another episode of Mythic Yoga. Namaste.